Hey everybody, welcome back to the Modern Witch Podcast. My name is Madison. I am a medium, an Akashic Records reader, a tarot reader, and a Reiki master. And on my channel, I share all the knowledge of everything metaphysical and spiritual to just pass along what I've learned to you guys. So today's episode, we're talking about spirit guides. This has been something that has been so highly requested. So every time that I've worked a fair, I have done medium readings where people have been like, hey, I feel like I have spirit guides. I feel like I have angels watching over me. Do I have them? What are they? How do they work? So I made a list of all of my frequently asked questions about spirit guides, and we are going to unpack all of them. So let's get into it. So what are spirit guides? So spirit guides can be a lot of different things. They can be angels or past loved ones. So people that you knew in this life who have passed on, who just come back to help you. So an example would be like my dad. My dad passed away about 4 years ago. And he is somebody that's one of my active spirit guides that I communicate with, that I call on, and somebody who just kind of helps me through day-to-day life. And it's cool because even after people pass, you can still kind of have that connection and that help from them when it comes to just that angelic guidance and that angelic presence. So a lot of times people think like spirit guides, angels, past loved ones, they're all really one and the same. It's just what verbiage you prefer to kind of refer to that realm. So there's also, whenever we tap into the Akashic Records, what we're doing is we're calling on our masters, teachers, and loved ones. And so in addition to your spirit guides, you also have your masters, teachers, and loved ones. And a lot of times your spirit guides are going to fall under your loved ones. And so what that looks like is masters are going to be people who have come before us, who are masters of spirituality or metaphysical modalities. So think Jesus, think Buddha. Those are your masters. So everybody has somebody like that you probably already have a little bit of a connection that you feel, a little bit of a connection that you're fostering. So mine is with Jesus. I grew up Southern Baptist, and while Southern Baptist doesn't necessarily resonate with where I'm at right now on my spiritual journey, I very much resonate with Jesus and with what Jesus came here to do, which was just to love people, to teach people how to love each other, and just to spread kindness. And ultimately, I think that's what we all deep down want to do and are here to do. And so everybody has their own masters that are people that have come before us that we probably didn't know in this life, but it's going to be whoever that person is. Maybe you pray to, you resonate with, whatever that looks like. So, like I said, we have our masters, our teachers, and our loved ones. So spirit guides or angels, those are going to fall under our loved ones. And then we also have our teachers. So teachers could be somebody that is here in the physical, or it could be somebody who is passed. So an example of that would be one of the people that I feel like is a teacher in my life is a friend of mine who is here in the physical. And I feel like that she is here to help me and teach me in this life. But I also have an aunt who has passed who I feel like is also somebody who taught me a lot of life lessons while she was here. And so it's essentially showing that everybody has their purpose. So masters connect you with just deep divine connection and deep purpose. Teachers are going to be where you learn your lessons, where maybe you get the tough love, or maybe things start to click for you. And then loved ones is going to be people that you knew in this life or in other lifetimes. And an interesting thing that I've had come up lately is spirit guides showing up in the form of animals. And so I was doing a reading on a girl a couple weeks ago, and she wanted to tap into her spirit guides. And 4 of her spirit guides that came through were cats. And she actually had like an incredible connection with cats. So in the next reading I ended up doing on her, she asked me to do a medium reading to connect her with 2 of her cats that had passed. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's why your spirit guides were cats, because you had this deep connection to cats in this life. So it would make sense that cats were some of your spirit guides. So that was just a really cool full circle moment, because she just kind of asked the question about spirit guides at a medium event that I was doing. And then she ended up booking I believe, medium reading with me a little bit later on. And I was like, yes, I remember you had the 4 cat spirit guides. She was like, yeah, I actually have 2 cats who passed away recently. Like she'd had two cats for like over 20 years and they passed, and she wanted to just kind of tap into, was everything okay with their passing? There were kind of some medical situations that she had to make some decisions around that she kind of felt some maybe grief and guilt about. We kind of went through those different things. So loved ones can also be pets, spirit animals, things like that as well. Okay, so another common question I get, do we all have spirit guides? Yes, absolutely. Everybody has masters, teachers, and loved ones. And so a big way that you can kind of tap into yours and figure out who they are is going to be a lot of times through meditation. That's personally how I've done it. I'll kind of circle back to that at the end. But there is a way that you can kind of like seek out who that team is for you if maybe you haven't connected with them or you're not sure. Are they always with us? Okay, so people ask this in like two sorts of ways. People ask this in like a creepy way, like, are they just stalking me? And that's not at all kind of how it works. But people also ask this in a, if they're always watching me and they're always with me, why aren't they doing something? Why aren't they intervening in my life? Why aren't they changing things in my life? And let's talk about that. So angels, masters, teachers, loved ones, spirit guides, whatever terminology you want to use, they all, although they play different roles, they all act under the universal knowledge or guidance that you cannot intervene on another person's free will. So if your angel sees you going about your life struggling, but your free will is kind of what got you into that situation, and maybe you haven't asked for help from them, they're not just going to hop into your life and start meddling and trying to change things for you until you ask them to. So I always learn to like ask for help from my angels, and I'm going to take you guys through what that looks like. So a few years ago, I learned the concept Angel for Hire from AG. AG University podcast is a great place to listen to really anything spiritual as well. That's actually where I started learning about the Akashic records. And so AG taught this concept called Angel for Hire, where if you need something specific, you call on a certain angel. So I'm going to give you guys some ideas. So I've been trying to learn how to ski for the past couple of years, and skiing is hard. Skiing is hard to learn as a girl in her 30s because there's a lot of mental kind of pieces along with it, and then there's the physical piece. And so what I've been doing is I have actually been asking for one of my uncles who passed away. He was an incredibly good skier. And so whenever I get nervous on the slopes, I'll be like, hey, Uncle Jimmy, can you come help me and get me down this slope and give me some guidance and give me a little pep talk, you know, whatever. And so you can tap into certain angels or certain people who have passed to ask them to help you in certain areas of your life. So another example is my dad was a great businessman. So whenever I am wondering about things in my business, sometimes I'll be like, hey dad, can you be my angel to help with this area of my business that I'm trying to work on? And I really think the biggest thing is that like you have to ask them for help, and you can be super specific because they're not going to override your free will. So if you're just like, hello guys, change my life, like they don't know what that means. Like be specific. What do you want? How do you need their help? How can they show up for you? Another really cool example is I've done this and I didn't realize other people had done this. So I'm one of those people, it's not a fact I like about myself, but like I will go until I have no gas before I get gas. I just don't like to get gas. I don't know. I think it's an inconvenience. It's not. But anyways, I never get gas till I'm like right on E. So if you're one of those people, you might have found yourself once or 5 to 7 times where you're like, oh my gosh, I actually don't know if I'm gonna make it to the gas station. Like, please help me make it to the gas station. So what I've done is when I've been in those situations a couple times, I've been like, hey angels, I know I probably should have made a different decision, but can you guys please get me to the gas station and like be like my extra gas to get me there? And it's worked every time. And I was talking to my aunt, and I don't know how it came up, but she told me that she actually called on like some of our relatives that had passed to help her in the same situation. She was like, she was traveling somewhere and there was like a really big gap. But she lives in Wyoming and Arizona, and so there's like a lot of places where there's not a lot of gas stations. And basically, she thought there would be another one, there wasn't, and so she used the exact same concept. So she's telling me this story. I'm like, no way, I do the same thing. I literally ask them for the same thing, like the same people, the same angels. And so it's so crazy because they can help with like the really big things in life. Like I did a reading for somebody the other day who wanted to connect with their dad, and they were like, hey, while we're talking to my dad, like, how does he feel about my career? And I was like, oh, he would actually love to help you with your career. So like, how do you feel about kind of asking him if he would be the angel to help you get the right opportunities, get in front of the right people, get connected with the right job postings, like all the things. And so you can be really specific about how you ask your angels and your spirit guides for help. Okay, so another thing a ton of people ask about is signs. I think whenever we exist in the physical realm, things like signs, angel numbers, synchronicities, it feels like, ooh, it would happen to somebody else, but not me. But no, 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 no. There's no such thing as coincidences. It is happening to you. You are deserving of good things. And there are signs and angel numbers and synchronicities and all the good things coming to you if you open yourself up to those possibilities. So some of the ways that people have been like, can you verify if this is a sign? If I'm maybe trying to get somebody to connect with me from like the spirit guide realm. So animals. So for example, whenever I'm really stressed, there's this little squirrel that will always show up right outside my house that I believe is like my dad in a spirit animal form showing up, like, hello, you need some help and encouragement, here I am. And it's so crazy because I'm not going to say it's the same squirrel, but I did move, and like since I moved, I still have a squirrel that comes in like the same way in the same area, I don't believe that's a coincidence. I believe it's just kind of a little reminder that whenever I kind of forget to call on my spirit guides, a lot of times the squirrel will show up and I'll be like, duh, I literally have help. I can literally reach out to my spirit guides, God, Jesus, whoever. Angel numbers, a lot of people are like, oh, it's so weird, I've been seeing 1111. Like, that's not a coincidence. That is angel numbers. So one thing that's really cool that you can do is if you look up angel numbers or like angel numbers and numerology, you can get the breakdown for what each number means. So for example, if you're seeing a lot of ones, that's normally associated with new beginnings. That's a sign that something new is coming. That's maybe confirmation that something new is coming. Threes are going to be a lot about creativity, fun, artistic, just letting the ideas flow. And that is one that I get a lot of times whenever I'm caught up in like the mundane day to day and I like forgot to have fun and be creative. And that is actually what makes me the most successful, is bringing my creativity to life. Okay, another thing that people are like, oh, I have, lights in my house that get turned on and off. I have Netflix in my house that gets turned on and off. Is that them? Probably. So I'm going to give y'all an example. When I first was doing medium readings on other people, I was doing a medium reading on one of my friends. Her boyfriend had passed away, and so I had a picture of him. And fun fact, if you are looking to have like a mediumship experience with somebody, if you have a physical picture of them, a thing that used to belong to them, there's something about that energy that allows you to tap in like so deeply and almost quicker, if that makes sense. So basically this, picture of him had been at her house since he passed away. Now it's at my house. And he very clearly wanted to go back. And so every single night he would come and turn on the Netflix while my boyfriend was just chilling. And my boyfriend is not in the spiritual realm like I am. Like, he does not have encounters like this. And so finally he's like, hey, your friend's dead boyfriend picture, is it still here? I was like, yeah. He's like, can you get rid of it? Because he keeps turning on Netflix and it's never happened before. And now every day at the exact same time, he turns on Netflix while I'm trying to have my quiet time, and it's kind of freaking me out. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I took the picture back to her that day and it never happened again. So a lot of things like that are them. And why did it happen like that for him? Who knows? Maybe it was because at that point I'd probably only told him that I was a medium for like maybe 6 months prior to this happening. And that's kind of like a big thing to spring on somebody. We'd been together for a little while, and I was like, hey, so I have something I would like to share with you. And so then when I started doing readings for other people, that kind of opened up another, avenue. So maybe it was kind of like some validation from the spirit realm coming to be like, hello, these things are real, even if, maybe that's not a big part of his life. So I think sometimes they just come to be like, hello, we're real, we're here. We just want to pop in and say hello and let you know we exist. A lot of other signs, I wrote down clear experiences. So if you're not familiar with the clear senses, it is essentially these extra sensory abilities a lot of us have. So for example, I am clairvoyant, which means whenever I get into a channeled state of meditation, if I go in and I open up your Akashic record, in my mind's eye, I am sitting down and having a very real physical experience or a very real visual experience. So like I'm sitting down, I am in a room, I can see what the room looks like, I can see the angelic being that I'm working with, she's handing me books, I can read words on the page, I can see images on the page. I also have a little bit of clairaudient, so sometimes I will get, it's kind of like a podcast download is kind of what I say, and you'll kind of get like a download of maybe something to do or next steps or something coming through for somebody you're doing a reading for. So a lot of this is like audio visual tasting is one. Clairgustience, I believe is how it's pronounced. So for example, I was doing a reading for somebody, they wanted to connect with their great grandmother, and they were like, oh my gosh, I'm tasting her pie right now and I haven't had it in like 20 years. That's an example of clear senses showing up. So all of those experiences, if you're like, hey, I've been wondering if they're real, they're just your clear senses, and they're probably just somebody who's been trying to get your attention, especially if you're somebody who's been like, help, I need help, somebody help me, my life is in shambles. Maybe it's your spirit guide showing up to be like, hey, I'm here to help. Will you please allow me to help you? Because again, they're not going to go against your free will. So if you're just kind of like, hello, somebody show up and fix my life, that's not really specific enough for them to like take action. If you're like, hey, I need help getting out of debt, I need help getting a new job, I need help fixing my relationships, I need help staying sober, whatever those things are, you get really specific about them, and then you start to get the help and the relief that you need. Okay, so there is a way that you can connect with your spirit guides and kind of channel them. So I have done this for myself a little while ago. Whenever I was learning about masters, teachers, and loved ones, I basically wanted to go into like a channeled meditation state and invite these different light workers or different beings that I'm working with on the spiritual realm to kind of make themselves known to me while they're here, what our connection is, all the things. So I'd been doing that for myself for a little while, but I probably a month ago did an Akashic Records class where I was teaching people how to tap into their Akashic Records. And I had somebody in there that had attended a medium event that I did, and he was like, hey, I'd really like to be able to connect with my spirit guides. So we had a little extra time at the end of the class, and I was like, hey, let's do a channeled meditation to invite our spirit guides in through this like channeled meditation technique I'd been using. And I did it for everybody there, and everybody had a really cool downloads come through. One girl had just the word grandfather come through, and she was like, I've literally been trying to connect with my dead grandfather, and turns out he's trying to connect with me too. I had one girl that basically had like almost like a remote viewing experience where she was taken to like a beach where her spirit guides were, and she was like introduced to them, and she had very much like a clairvoyant experience. Everybody's experience is a little bit different. There's no right or wrong. It's just all different depending on how your gifts show up. So if you're interested in connecting with your spirit guides, I'm going to be launching in February, maybe a little bit sooner, but probably February 2025, a platform where you can essentially buy like exclusive content. And so I will have a connect with your spirit guide meditation that you'll be able to tap into and have me walk you through the entire experience. I'm actually about to film it literally right when I get done with this video. I'm just going to film that so I have them kind of together. But that will be exclusive subscriber content on a platform that I will list down below as soon as it is up and ready. In the meantime, if you would like to book a reading with me, I will also put my booking link down below. I do have a space in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I offer Reiki and readings, but I also offer everything virtually. And so feel free to book a reading with me below. It could be from the comfort of your living room or from the comfort of my space, whatever you prefer. I cannot wait to meet you soon. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, happy healing.